Hello guys and welcome back to another video. My name is FPL Meerkat and today I've got a deep dive into the bonus points system for you guys. I know it's fairly complicated, especially for some of you newer players, but I think there's even some parts of it that some veterans amongst you don't actually know. All the details. So I'm going to have a video explaining the entirety of the system. I'm going to put timestamps down below for each little section. It's going to be a pretty long video, this one. There's a lot of content in it. So if you like it, please like the video and subscribe and get in the comments down below that you enjoyed. I really want to try and push more of this informative content if you guys want to see that kind of thing rather than just the weekly team selection videos. So yeah, I recommend you watch it as there's quite a lot of things included in the bonus point system, and I'm even going to have some bonus points magnets that we like to call them at the end of the video, players to look out for who seem to get a lot of bonus points. So let's get straight into things. So firstly, just a short explanation on what the bonus point system actually is. The bonus point system, or BPS as I'll be using for the remainder of this video, utilizes a range of statistics to create a BPS score for every player. The 3 best performing players in each match will be awarded bonus points. The 3 points, 3 FPL points that is, will go to the highest scoring player, 2 points to the second highest, and 1 point to the third highest. So as you can see there on the diagram, on the bonus point system at the bottom there, Cancelo is the highest on 39, Grealish is the second highest on 38, and De Bruyne is the third highest with 34, meaning the bonus points are as followed there. It's important to remember that BPS does not equal bonus points. BPS is just the system they use to calculate who's going to get the bonus points. It's quite complicated to remember that, but basically the smaller numbers are the ones that are actually FPL points, and the bigger numbers are the ones they use to calculate who's getting those smaller numbers. And resolving ties, at least 3 players need to have points. So if there's a tie, all the players who have tied will receive the same amount of points. So if there's a 3-way tie for first, all 3 of those players will receive 3 bonus points and none of the other players will receive any. And if there's, say, a 2-way tie for third place, both of those players will receive 1 bonus point. It's fairly complicated, but in the short term, the points are, at least 3 players need to get the bonus points. So I hope that makes sense. So if you go on the FPL website, you can actually see a full breakdown of all the bonus points. I'm going to go through it all in this video, so you don't need to. But basically, BPS is calculated using a large number of things, such as goals, assists, dribbles, passes, crosses, big chances, minutes played, clean sheets, saves, tackles, interceptions, recoveries, clearances, and you can also lose BPS for things like own goals, errors leading to goals, shots off target, cards, and offsides. So all these things are being calculated whilst the game is going on, and it will leave and it will result in a final BPS score for all the players at the end of each individual match. So for minutes played, players are awarded BPS for the minutes they have played in a match. So if a player has played between 1 and 60 minutes, they will be awarded 3 BPS, and if they've played over 60 minutes, they will be rewarded 6 BPS. Once a player reaches 60 minutes, the 6 points overwrites the 3 points, so they basically earn 3 points for the first 60 minutes and then 3 points for anything after that. They gain 6 in total, not 9. That might be a bit misleading with how surely once you reach 60 minutes, you receive the 6 points, but basically now you're at 60 minutes, you no longer are playing between 1 and 60, so you only receive 6 BPS for that. And if a player is subbed off at 59 minutes, they do not qualify for the 6 BPS. They will only have received the 3 BPS. And there is no difference between whether you start the game or get subbed on. It is just about the total minutes you have played. So the main source of BPS is, of course, goals. Now, different BPS is awarded based on a player's position, not how good the goal is. There's a bit of a misconception that depending on how good the goal is, you'll be awarded more BPS. That's not actually the case. All goals are awarded the same BPS based on the position of the player. So goalkeepers and defenders are awarded 12 BPS, midfielders 14, and forwards 24. This is to counterbalance the points that are awarded for each goal. Obviously, defenders and goalkeepers earn more points for goals, but they earn less BPS because that's less of their role. Forwards' role is to score goals in a football team, so that's why the BPS is used, so they get more BPS because the forwards' job is to score goals. Assists are always the same for BPS, no matter which position. It will always be 9. Scoring the goal that wins the match also awards BPS. This will be why some players suddenly shoot up at the very end of the game, because a goal that wins the match will award 3 extra BPS. So that can be the decider between getting some more bonus points, and an own goal awards -6 BPS. So quite a key thing for midfielders is BPS can be awarded for chances created. This can be successful open play crosses, which awards 1, creating a big chance, which awards 3, key passes, which award 1 each. Pass completion, which is a little bit complicated. That basically you need to have attempted at least 30 passes in the game to be eligible for that. And you need to have, if it's 70 to 79% of the passes are completed, you'll get 2 BPS. 80 to 89 pass completion will be 4, and 90% or above pass completion will be 6 BPS. So yeah, you need to have attempted at least 30 passes for that to be eligible. If you're anywhere near 30 passes, you won't get any BPS for any passes you've made. And you won't be awarded twice for pass completion. It's just your pass completion over the game. Again, another reason why players suddenly shoot up and down as the game is going on. Their pass completion might have fallen below 90% after missing a couple. And successful dribbles as well awards 1 BPS. Big chances are basically when a player should have scored. I believe that means that their XG is above 0.5. They were more likely to score the goal than miss the goal. So if a midfielder or any of the players this can be eligible for create a big chance, they're awarded 3 BPS. For defenders, players can achieve BPS for different defensive actions. Now, this isn't exclusive to defenders, but obviously this is the main source of BPS for defenders. For every 2 clearances, blocks, and interceptions made, they'll receive 1 BPS. This groups all 3 of those stats together. So it could be 1 clearance and 1 interception will award a bonus point. It is all of those grouped together. For every 3 recoveries made, that'll be 1 bonus point. 1 point in the bonus point system. That is earned by a player recovering possession. So when a team has lost possession, if they recover the ball to regain possession, that counts as a recovery. And successful tackles made. Now that is a net total. So any unsuccessful tackles made, so attempted tackles that haven't gotten the ball, will take away from the total successful tackles. So for example, if a player makes 5 successful tackles, but then they make 3 unsuccessful tackles, they will get 4 BPS, because that's 10 BPS for the successful tackles, but then it minuses 6 for the unsuccessful ones. But a key thing to note there is it will never be negative. So if you make more unsuccessful tackles than if you make more unsuccessful tackles than successful ones, you will not be moved into the negative points. It will always stay positive. But obviously, if you make, say, 4 successful and 4 unsuccessful, then you have 0 FBPS. In terms of clean sheets, a clean sheet is awarded for not conceding a goal whilst on the pitch playing at least 60 minutes. That is excluding stoppage time as well. It's only counting between 0 and 90 minutes. If a player has been substituted when a goal is conceded, this will not affect the clean sheet bonus. And only goalkeepers and defenders get BPS for keeping a clean sheet. Midfielders and forwards do not. Despite the fact that midfielders do get 1 point for keeping a clean sheet, for BPS, midfielders don't get anything for keeping a clean sheet. And defenders and goalkeepers get 12 points for keeping a clean sheet. 12 BPS, that is. Confusing myself. So for goalkeepers get BPS per save that they make, and they get a huge amount of BPS if they save a penalty. A save awards 2 BPS for a goalkeeper, and saving a penalty is 15 BPS. Goalkeepers don't lose bonus for conceding goals. However, they do lose bonus if they make an error that leads to an attempt on goal. An error that leads to an attempt is -1, and an error which leads to an actual goal is -3. Bear in mind, this is also the same for defenders and any other position on the pitch, but obviously it's most likely for goalkeepers and defenders to make those errors. But yeah, goalkeepers can rack up a huge amount of BPS if they save a lot of shots, and especially if they save a penalty, which we've seen so far this season. Moving on to discipline, players will lose BPS for fouling an opponent or receiving a card. Conceding a foul is a -1 for the player, a yellow card is -3, and a red card is -9 BPS. Receiving 2 yellow cards will just give the score for a red card. It will not be -12. It will not add on a red card and a yellow card. It will just be the total for a red card. If a player receives a red card, they will continue to be penalised for goals conceded by their team. So if you've had a player who's on a clean sheet and then red carded, and then they concede, and then the team concedes a goal, despite the fact they weren't on the pitch, they are kind of at fault for the goal for getting themselves sent off, so they lose that clean sheet bonus that they have. And red cards overturned after the game has finished does not affect BPS. So unfortunately, if you've received the BPS, negative BPS for the red card, and then the red card gets turned over at the end of the game, the negative BPS is still there, and they probably won't get any bonus for that. For penalties, players will lose BPS for conceding or missing a penalty. Conceding a penalty is -3 BPS, and missing a penalty is -6 BPS. Penalties are considered big chances, and conceding a penalty is considered as an error leading to an attempt, which we will get onto in a bit. Penalty goals earn the same amount of BPS as a goal from open play and can count as the winning goal. So again, there's a bit of a misconception that a penalty goal awards less BPS than a regular goal. That is not true. They both reward the same BPS. And missing a penalty, then scoring a rebound, you'll get the BPS for scoring the goal, but you'll still count the negative BPS for missing. So if a striker like Haaland misses their penalty but then scores the rebound, they'll get 12 for scoring. It's most likely for goalkeepers, but they will receive -6 for missing the penalty. So even though they'll get some all right points, they won't gain as much BPS for missing the penalty initially. And just some other ways that players can lose BPS. There are other negative BPS points. A shot off target is -1. Missing a big chance is -3. Again, explained before, a big chance is a chance where a attacker or a player should have scored the goal. An error which leads to an attempt is -1. Error leads to a goal is -3. Being tackled is -1 BPS. Being caught offside as well is -1 BPS for the player that was marked offside. And like I said before, BPS is calculated during the game, but can take some time to register, which is why after the game is finished, you might see provisional BPS. That is when the final whistle went, that's what BPS they're on right now, but it might take some time to add in all of the little things that happened near the end of the game. So that's why BPS can sometimes change at the very end of a game. So now that's all the explanation out of the way, let's get on to the fun stuff. Here are some of the biggest bonus point magnets in the game. We're going to start off with the goalkeepers here. I'm going to give the top 10 from every single position in the game as of game week 8. Obviously, there's only 7 game weeks been played, hence given blank game week 7. So looking at the sheet here, Henderson tops the bonus point magnets for the goalkeepers. Again, I've put on here the amount of clean sheets that the team has recorded, also the amount of saves that the goalkeeper has made. And as you can see there, he has made 2 penalty saves, which has massively increased his BPS. Without those 2 penalty saves, he would be, I believe, 4th or 5th without those penalty saves. So yeah, massively skewed by the penalty saves he makes. But again, you could argue that Henderson is very good at saving penalties. So it depends which way you want to frame it. Nick Pope there in second. He's had 3 clean sheets and made 30 saves, joint most saves. And 164 on the BPS, just 1 below Henderson. Sarr as well, high up there with 3 clean sheets and a lot of saves there, also saving a penalty. Raya as well in 4th, only 1 clean sheet kept, but 30 saves made, pretty high on the BPS there. Ederson, a big surprise there, how high he is on the BPS system, largely because of those clean sheets, the most on the list there with 4 clean sheets, but he's only made 7 saves this season. So in terms of bonus, he's probably going to be outclassified by his Man City teammates, given that they can interact with the goals. But yeah, it's amazing how many BPS he's actually got there, Ederson, but he's probably not going to get many bonus points. Martinez there in 6th with 22 saves, 1 clean sheet, 130, again pretty good. Lloris in 7th there, you can see the stats. Pickford in 8th, Sanchez in 9th, and Ramsdale in 10th, who's only made 13 saves this year. So we all thought that Ramsdale might be a clean sheet and save kind of goalkeeper, but he's 10th in the BPS. Henderson, Pope and Sarr being those top 3 in the BPS for goalkeepers. But again, BPS is quite low for goalkeepers in comparison. If we actually look at the top 10 overall, I believe there are players from every single position in the top 10 overall, which is kind of cool. There's not a particular position that does incredibly well on BPS, which kind of shows how well it's structured. But yeah, let's move on to the defenders. So as you can see here on the defenders, it's no surprise that Cancelo tops the list with 172 total BPS. Just like the goalkeepers, I've put the clean sheets for defenders, but I've also put the goals and assists that they've gotten as well that add towards that BPS. So yeah, Cancelo at number 1 there. Saliba at number 2 with 3 clean sheets, 2 goals and an assist, quite high up there. Trippier is pretty high as well with clean sheets and goal contributions for him, pretty high up. Gabriel is the next, not as many goal contributions for him, but again, those clean sheets getting him very high up. Diaz, incredibly high up, a lot of clean sheets, but not many goal contributions. Dyer as well with quite a surprise pick there, I'd say. 2 goal contributions for him. Again, goal contributions are goals are less for defenders than the clean sheets are actually the same amount as goals in the BPS. So I'm actually quite surprised he's quite high up. He's clearly getting quite involved in the play. Kilman there in 7th as well. 3 clean sheets for him. No goal contributions there, but he's clearly involved quite a lot in the game, as there's not another Wolves defender there on the list. White with a fairly decent BPS as well. Tarkowski there with 2 clean sheets, no goal contributions. And Thiago Silva, a big surprise. Only 1 clean sheet and just 1 assist, and yet he's the 10th highest on BPS. That really shows how much he is involved in the play for Chelsea, whether that be with chance creation, passes made, or again, not conceding fouls. But yeah, very surprised to see Thiago Silva there in 10th. Let's have a look at the midfielders. So for the midfielders, again, no surprise, De Bruyne tops the list. For midfielders, I've put the goals and assists again, but I've also put the key passes as well, a big contributor to the BPS. And as you can see, De Bruyne smashes everyone out of the water with 25 key passes. Clear indicator of how he's racking up so much BPS there at 166. But again, he pales in comparison to the number 1, who we're going to talk about in a couple minutes. Højbjerg there at number 2. Again, a very surprising pick there. Only 2 goals and 1 assist for him and only 9 key passes. But he's clearly so involved in retaining the ball, the amount of tackles he's doing. He can definitely rack up some bonus points in some of those low-scoring games. Just giving some interesting picks to you guys, players you might not think about. He might pop out of a goal every so often, but as you can see there, he's definitely not shy to the bonus points either. Gross there at number 3, no surprises there. Incredibly good season for him so far. Scoring goals, getting assists, 14 key passes, pretty high as well. Yeah, 155 BPS for him. Bernardo, very high up. 5 goal contributions already and 11 key passes for him. Xhaka in 5th. So probably not someone we would have considered at the start of the season, but again, pretty high on the BPS. A lot of these players are the box-to-box central midfielders or more defensively minded midfielders racking at the points, but because De Bruyne is creating so many chances, he blows them all out of the water. Ødegaard there in 6th, Martinelli in 7th, both of them on the same BPS. Despite Martinelli having more key passes, Ødegaard clearly has more retention of the ball, that kind of stuff, getting him more BPS. Tielemans there in 8th, Foden in 9th, and McAllister squeezing in at 10th, but only having 1 key pass and 4 goals, and yet is still 10th on the BPS. He's clearly doing a lot of the ball winning, not so much at the passing. Maybe he's been fairly lucky with the amount of goals and assists he's gotten. Again, he does take penalties, but yeah, pretty good for the BPS for him. And finally, looking at the forwards, and as you can see there, Haaland number 1 with 307 total BPS. Obviously for forwards, their main source of BPS is the goals, and because Haaland's been scoring so much, he's been getting a ton of bonus. I've also included the big chances there for forwards. It's kind of hard to get any other data for what would contribute to their BPS for forwards, as so much of it comes from the goals, getting 24 for each goal. You can probably work it out there. Most of Haaland's BPS there is from the goals. So I've just put big chances there to see, to show you how many they would have missed, hence not scoring a goal, and therefore they might have lost a bit of it as well. But yeah, Haaland blowing everyone out of the water, doing what he needs to do as a striker. Kane there in second with 200 BPS. He's the second overall. Still doing incredibly well. It's still a very good pick for BPS. Tony there in third with 163. Again, a very good start for him. Mitrovic there in fourth. 1 more big chance than Tony and 1 more goal scored for him, but not as many assists. Firmino there in 5th, very surprisingly, not even been playing all of the games, and he's only had 3 big chances and he's scored all 3 of them, so he's clearly very clinical and he's got a lot of BPS as to show, hence he hasn't lost many from missing shots. But yeah, very high up for him. He's actually higher than Jesus, who's next on the list, 141. Maybe next week that might have changed. But yeah, 7 big chances for him and only 4 goals. 4 of those have gone in. You could say he's been fairly unlucky with the amount of goals he's gotten, given how many chances he's had and how many good positions he's got himself in. And Mbeumo there on 105, Adams on 85, Watkins on 80, and Johnson on 80. As you can see, once you get past Jesus, there is quite a huge drop-off on the BPS. If you exclude Haaland, who's clearly an anomaly, it's quite a huge drop-off between Jesus and Mbeumo. But again, I'm quite surprised at Mbeumo, given how he's only had 2 big chances. He's scored both of them. He's certainly he's certainly a viable cheap option on the list there. But yeah, after Mbeumo, you're not really looking at many of the BPS magnets, given they haven't scored as many goals. Those top 6 are certainly the highest scorers in the league. Maybe not Firmino, but again, he's been so clinical, and so I think he obviously got that astonishingly high BPS in the Bournemouth game, and I believe, did he score the first goal? No, he didn't. He got assists first, didn't he? But yeah, obviously the winning goals play a big part into the BPS, especially for the forwards. So yeah. So just to wrap everything up for you guys, the bonus point system features all kinds of metrics that makes players who aren't as directly involved in goal contributions more viable, and rewards players for fulfilling their position's role. So like I said, with the forwards, they mostly get their BPS from scoring goals. Midfielders is from creating chances. Defenders is for keeping clean sheets and making tackles. And for goalkeepers, it's making saves and keeping clean sheets. I've also noticed that the bonus point system also heavily rewards consistency. So as you can see there, a forward who scores 3 goals in a game, gets a hat-trick, and then blanks in 2 others will receive 21 points, 6 points for appearances, 12 for goals, and only 3 bonus. Whereas a forward who scores 1 goal in 3 different games could receive up to 27 points, 6 points higher, given that they receive 9 bonus for getting 3 bonus in 3 different games. So yeah, it clearly rewards consistency rather than just scoring a lot of goals in one particular game. The bonus point system can also help you decide defenders that stand out from certain teams. And the bonus point system can help you decide which defenders stand out from certain teams. Goal involvement is certainly a useful metric. But in a low-scoring match, defenders from the same team can get significantly different scores. Take for Cancelo, for example, who is obviously a standout defender. He's achieved 7 bonus points so far, and 5 of those points have come from games where he didn't even get a goal contribution. So it's a really good way of identifying players who, especially defenders, who, if you think the game's going to be low scoring, it's going to be quite tight, it's going to be a 0-0, 1-0, it can be a good way of identifying which players are going to get you 6 points and which players are going to get you 9 points, which again might make a big difference at the end of the season. And again, over many weeks, if that keeps happening, can certainly start racking up the points like we know Cancelo can do. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you have enjoyed. I hope you're a bit more informed on what the BPS is, how bonus points are calculated, and have you learnt anything new, even if you're a veteran of the game, if there's different little things that reward more BPS, and why, if you've been watching a game as it's been going on, suddenly a player has shot up for some random reason. A big reason will be the winning goal, because obviously they don't know which goal is the winning goal until the game has finished. So that's quite an interesting thing to note. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, please like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me grow. And get down in the comments if you'd like to see more of this kind of content, this more of informative sort of style, giving you information about how the game works, how best to get points, rather than just the regular team selection videos I've made. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next FPL video.